On our anniversary, my girlfriend abruptly dropped a bombshell, telling me she wants to bear a child for her terminally ill first love. Because of this absurd request, we ended up locked in a fierce argument. The doctor said Huey's health is deteriorating rapidly. If we don't do this now, it'll be too late. Besides, it's just going to be an IVF procedure. Honey, I already promised you that I wouldn't have physical relations with him. It's just lending a helping hand. So what on earth are you so insecure about? Clutching the engagement ring tightly inside my palm, my heart grew numb with agony. I couldn't fathom how my own girlfriend could so casually utter such utterly outrageous words. Ning Bing, we have been together for 7 long years, and we're about to step into marriage. Have you never once considered my feelings? If you do this, how am I supposed to face the rest of the world? Suppressed humiliation burned within me as I desperately tried to salvage the final shreds of my dignity, yet my knuckles, clutched white and bloodless, betrayed the agonizing pain ripping through my soul. However, Bai Ningbing instantly flew into a rage, snapping upright and pointing directly at my face as she screamed, "You only care about your own fragile male ego. You have never once bothered to think about me." Bai Ningbing violently flipped the dining table, sending the cold steak splattering messily across the floor. Suddenly, her phone on the table began to ring. I looked down and saw the screen vividly display the words "my love." Bai Ningbing clearly saw it too. In a panic, she snatched the phone away and instantly hit the mute button. I stared at her, praying that Bai Ningbing would give me some sort of explanation, even if it was just a blatant lie. Yet Bai Ningbing simply slammed the door shut and stormed out. "I won't be coming home tonight, so don't bother waiting up for me." Bai Ningbing left without a single word of justification, and her cold departure forced me to look back at our past, from our university days to entering society. The thing that Bai Ningbing had left me with the most was always this ruthlessly indifferent back. Back in college, Bai Ningbing was the campus goddess, an absolute ice beauty whom no one dared to approach. Back then, she wouldn't even spare me a single glance, even once. But due to a twist of fate, a supreme beauty like Bai Ningbing actually confessed her love to me. Just like that, we inexplicably fell into a relationship. I knew that there might have been some hidden agenda behind it, but I pushed myself to study harder, desperately upgrading myself just to be worthy of standing beside Bai Ningbing. I loved her with utmost humility and loved her with absolute caution. My devotion to Bai Ningbing was practically flawless and meticulous, yet it barely earned me a few rare, fleeting moments of affection from her. Over the past years, I fondly believed that Bai Ningbing's heart had finally been melted by me, but I never expected her to still be so incredibly cold and detached. I stared at the dining table piled with delicious food, only to feel an overwhelming bitterness suffocating my chest. I rushed out to the balcony and lit a cigarette, only to suddenly notice that Bai Ningbing hadn't even left yet. She was pacing back and forth at the villa's gate, seemingly waiting for a car to arrive. "Hui, you absolutely have to hang in there. I'm heading to the hospital to see you right now." Whether Su Yan agrees to this or not doesn't even matter. It's my own body, so I'll make my own decisions. Who the hell does he think he is anyway? A private car pulled up at the gate, and Bai Ningbing hurriedly got in. I clearly saw the sheer panic and deep anxiety plaster across her face. Who the hell am I to her? Years of humiliation and suppressed resentment came rushing up inside me. Looking at my haggard and utterly devastated reflection in the mirror, I realized that over the years, while my career had completely skyrocketed, my love life had been trapped in a blinding fog, unable to ever find a way out. All I ever wanted was a completely normal marriage and a lover who actually held a place for me in her heart. But Bai Ningbing clearly couldn't care less. Inside her head, the only thing that existed was her precious first love, Hui. She was even willing to bear a child for that man. I let out a cynical sneer. If Bai Ningbing dares to commit such an utterly outrageous betrayal, then why on earth should I pull back? I pulled out my phone and searched through my notes for an email address that had long been buried. I drafted a short message. "Does your promise from back then still stand?" At 28, if I'm unmarried and you're single, I'll marry you. You haven't even married me yet. Hubby, go ahead and send it to me. Would you dare to return to the country? I hit send in. A single breath, then froze for a moment, letting out a self-deprecating laugh. It has been 10 whole years since I last contacted. That girl. What on earth am I even doing right now? Out of nowhere, I'm suddenly asking her to marry me. I am terrified that she might have completely forgotten what I even look like. But the very next second, my phone screen lit up with an incoming email. Reply. It contained just a single word. Dare. The exact moment I saw that email, my chest suddenly tightened, and a wave of intense familiarity surged within me. Lin. Yao Yao was exactly the same as before, bold, fearless, and proactive. We were childhood sweethearts, who practically argued our entire lives, always bickering, until we were red in the face. During our youth, we definitely shared the sweet, fluttering sparks of first love. But after one massive showdown, Lin Yao Yao's entire family immigrated abroad. I just never imagined that Lin Yao Yao would still remember our childhood promise. Right then, an international call abruptly cut through my swirling thoughts. Yin, in 1 month. I'm coming back home. Let's meet directly at the Civil Affairs Bureau. You better not back out on me. For a split second, I had the uncanny illusion that Lin Yao Yao had actually been waiting for this exact moment for an incredibly long time. What do you want? Diamond rings, luxury cars, a massive bride price, or maybe a grand engagement party? I rattled off a long list of things in one breath. Bai Ningbing and I had been together for 7 years, and I always believed we would take this step, so I had already prepared quite a lot. It's just that Bai Ningbing was far too proud. Every single time I brought it up, she'd dismissively say, "We'll talk about it later," making all of my careful preparations completely pointless. However, what I never expected was that on the other end of the line, Lin Yao Yao would flatly reject every single one of those materialistic things. I don't need any of that. But as you already know, I've been incredibly possessive since I was a kid. I want your body, your heart, and your entire soul to belong to me completely. I won't accept you just going through the motions to spite someone. Deal? Deal, my little ancestor. Wait, what did you just call me? Just practicing early. My dear wife. Since it's marriage, I never once intended to take it lightly. I want to give her absolutely everything she rightfully deserves. Staring at the friend request popping up on WeChat, Lin Yao Yao's status note read, "Your Lordship wife." Lin Yao Yao saved her contact name as Your Royal Highness, wifey. A subtle smile crept onto the corner of my lips. Bai Ningbing. Since you're off bearing a child for another man, I'm going to marry someone else. That's only fair, isn't it? A whole week had passed, and Bai Ningbing still hadn't returned home. Not only did she not give me a single phone call, but she didn't even bother to sleep here a single night. If this were any ordinary time, I would have been driven frantic with anxiety. By now, probably rushing straight to the hospital to create a massive scene with Bai Ningbing. But right now, I asked absolutely nothing. I merely packed up all my belongings in silence and posted a simple status update on my social media timeline. If it's meant to be, stay. If not, part ways. A few mutual friends who knew I was about to propose immediately rushed over to interrogate me. Didn't you already buy the ring? Why on earth would you suddenly post this? Is the wedding off? I let out a self-deprecating laugh, feeling nothing but an overwhelming sense of emotional exhaustion. This ring was personally designed by my own hands, and I spent half a year bidding at auctions just to secure the flawless, pristine, pink diamonds that encircle a stunning 5-carat center stone, symbolizing absolute devotion. Yet while I was pouring my heart and soul out to her, what was Bai Ningbing doing? She was desperately losing sleep over another. Mun, if this woman's heart can truly never be thawed, then I'm absolutely done loving her. During a casual dinner with my close friends, I bluntly laid it out. I'm still getting married, but the bride will definitely not be Bai Ningbing. The dinner table fell dead silent for a brief second, but was quickly drowned out by my friends' skeptical laughter. Come on, you would literally give up your life for Bai Ningbing. For you to say you're done just like that? Who are you kidding? Over the years, how many times have you gone out drinking just to drown your sorrows? Yet all it takes is a single word from Bai Ningbing for you to come running right back to her. I didn't bother to argue. I knew actions speak infinitely louder than words, and my friends would find out the absolute truth soon enough. This time, I was completely serious. When I arrived back at the villa, I noticed the lights were on. It turned out Bai Ningbing was finally home. She had dark circles under her eyes, her bare face looking utterly exhausted. Bai Ningbing had always been incredibly vain about her beauty. Every single time she stepped out of the house, she was meticulously dolled up and flawless. It was exceptionally rare to ever see her looking this completely wrecked. As I approached her, I caught a whiff. Seeing her in such a pathetic, miserable state, I approached and inhaled deeply of pungent disinfectant clinging to her, proving, without a doubt, that she had been staying up all night at the hospital, slaving away at the sick man's bedside. The moment she caught sight of me, Bai Ningbing offered absolutely no explanation. Instead, she confidently interrogated me with an aggressive glare. Where the hell have you been? You're not even answering my calls. Getting a bit too bold, aren't we? It was always the exact same routine. Every time Bai Ningbing felt a pang of guilt, she would manufacture some random issue to project onto me, dumping all the blame squarely onto my shoulders and waiting for me to frantically apologize and beg for her forgiveness. But this time, I merely stared at Bai Ningbing with absolute, deadpan composure. Bai Ningbing's heart sank instantly, as if she could suddenly sense that the man standing before her had completely changed. If she couldn't quite put her finger on exactly what it was. But right now, she had absolutely no time to analyze it further. She had a far more pressing matter on her hands. Knitting her brows, she spoke with a demanding tone. Qi Hui just underwent major surgery a few days ago, and his body is incredibly weak. I've decided to help upgrade him to a VIP suite. Sure, I replied bluntly. Bai Ningbing froze in complete disbelief. She never expected things to go this smoothly. She had already fully prepared herself to handle me the same way she always did, assuming she'd have to waste a significant amount of time sweet-talking me. A VIP room costs 30,000 yuan a day. Are you truly okay with that? Completely fine, I said, without even bothering to lift my eyes, before immediately agreeing. After all, I secretly thought to myself, we aren't even married yet. If Bai Ningbing wants to blow through her own money, I have absolutely no right or reason to interfere. Bai Ningbing merely worked as a receptionist at a small-time company, earning a meager monthly salary of 4 to 5,000 yuan. But since all of her daily expenses had always been fully bankrolled by me, she did manage to hoard a decent amount of savings, though I highly doubted it could cover more than a few days in a VIP suite. Once again, that eerie, unnerving sensation flared up inside Bai Ningbing's chest, but she was currently far too frantic to help Lin Qi Hui secure that room upgrade, leaving her with absolutely no mental bandwidth to overthink it. Yet another week flashed by. I arrived at the hospital exactly as scheduled. Ignoring everything else, I tracked Bai Ningbing as she walked with practiced familiarity straight toward Lin Qi Hui's room. The man on the bed had actually been casually watching television, but the exact second he spotted Bai Ningbing, his face twisted in artificial agony as he let out a pathetic groan. Ningbing! It hurts so badly. Bai Ningbing panicked, instantly rushing over to his side. Didn't I tell you? Anxiously sprinted toward her. Didn't you promise me to stay in bed? Why on earth are you sitting up again? When I woke up early this morning and couldn't find you, I was driven completely sick with worry, unable to swallow a single bite. Bai Ningbing let out a helpless but incredibly gentle sigh. She brought out a lunchbox, tenderly spoon-feeding him bite by bite. Honestly, what are you going to do without me? If I hadn't upgraded you to this VIP suite, how could I ever rest easy? They leaned in closely, whispering sweet nothings, as if nobody else existed in the world, looking exactly like a pair of blissful newlyweds. Meanwhile, I stood at the door, silently witnessing the entire spectacle without uttering a single word. This continued until the chief physician arrived with his medical team and gave me a firm shove. If you're not involved with the patient, stop blocking the doorway. Only then did Bai Ningbing finally lift her head, realizing that her actual boyfriend was still standing right there at the entrance. She instantly stood up, visibly flustered, realizing that her actual boyfriend was still standing right there at the entrance. She instantly stood up, visibly flustered. But I said absolutely nothing, and even politely stepped aside. to clear the path. My complete lack of anger and refusal to make a scene left by Ningbing, utterly stunned. But before she could speak, her sleeve was suddenly yanked from behind. A pitiful Lin Chi. We clutched on her tightly, whining about a sudden, excruciating stomach ache. Bai Ningbing immediately brushed her doubts aside, assuming that I had finally, grudgingly accepted reality, which was honestly for the best. Lin Chi, we seemingly just noticed my presence. He offered me a thoroughly condescending nod of appreciation. Director Su, I really can't thank you enough. Not only have you been looking after Ningbing on my behalf all these years, but you even bankrolled this luxurious VIP room for me. I am truly, deeply grateful. Lin Chi Hui's words were dripping with absolute malice. He knew perfectly well that Bai Ningbing was my fiancée, yet he deliberately claimed I was just looking after her on his behalf. Despite the blatant disrespect, I merely stood there, in dead silence, listening to his garbage without reacting at all. As you probably know, Ningbing and I shared an extraordinarily profound connection. Back in our college days, she is a deeply sentimental and loyal woman, which is the only reason she's helping me like this. I truly hope you won't take it the wrong way. Oh, I understand completely. After all, I'm already about to marry someone else, so whatever Bai Ningbing chooses to do has absolutely nothing to do with me anymore. Seeing how easily I could be pushed around, Lin Chi Hui grew bolder and more arrogant, beginning to blatantly flex right in front of my face. Since I just wrapped up my surgery a few days ago, began to boast just a couple of days ago, right after I finished my surgery, moving around is so inconvenient. Thank goodness Ningbing has been tirelessly caring for me, not only giving me sponge baths, but also brewing homemade soup for me. Every single day, whenever she sees me in pain, she bursts into tears. Honestly, Director Su, this girlfriend of yours, is incredibly devoted and virtuous. Hearing Lin Chi Hui's blatant provocation, I still couldn't stop myself from clenching my fists. If he dared to boast like this in public, who knows what kind of intimate things they've done behind closed doors. I felt like an utter fool, completely humiliated and cuckolded. Bai Ningbing's face turned stark, white, and she frantically tried to downplay it. Chi Hui is just joking around, so please don't take it seriously. He's just that kind of guy, always loving to tease people. In my heart, I am obviously fully committed to you. As Bai Ningbing stammered her excuse, she turned her head away, her hands anxiously fidgeting with random things. Having been together for 7 years, it took me only a single glance to know she was blatantly lying through her teeth, because whenever she lies, she always fabricates some busy work to distract herself. Don't just stand there like a statue. Let's go settle the payment for the VIP room. As expected, after all that talking, Bai Ningbing still merely viewed me as a walking ATM, brought here solely to foot the bill. If she actually held any shred of love for me in her heart, how could she ever allow me to be degraded and disrespected like this? But I didn't care anymore because, as far as I was concerned, the exact moment she declared her desire to bear a child for Lin Chi Hui, our relationship was already completely dead and buried. Bai Ningbing offered a satisfied smile as she watched me swipe the card without a second thought, completely unaware that the card being used was actually her very own salary account, right? After that came the room transfer. Bai Ningbing remained glued to Lin Chi Hui's side the entire time, hovering over him until he was comfortably tucked in a bed. When the medical staff rolled in the gourmet VIP meal, Lin Chi Hui took only a couple of bites before pushing it away. He first shot a smug, provocative glance in my direction, and then tearfully choked out to Bai Ningbing. Ningbing, I can't help but reminisce about the days when we first started dating. Back then, you personally slaved over the stove to brew beef bone soup for me. I wonder if I'll ever get the chance to taste it again in this lifetime before I die. Hearing this, I truly wonder if I will ever get the chance to taste it again in this lifetime. Hubby, the second he finished speaking, Bai Ningbing knitted her brows and tenderly gripped his hand. Hey, what on earth are you talking about? As long as you crave it, I will rush home and whip it up for you. Right this instant. Not only will you get to eat it, but in the future, your own child will get to enjoy it too. The Lin family bloodline is probably going to end with my generation. My poor mother is still desperately waiting to hold her grandson. It's all because I'm so completely useless. Having blurted that out, he buried his face in his hands and sobbed hysterically. Bai Ningbing wrapped her arms around him, offering soft, soothing whispers. Noticing that I was still standing there inside the hospital room, Bai Ningbing issued a cold, demanding order. What are you just standing there for? Hurry up and head to the supermarket to buy some beef bone. I'm heading back in a bit to stew the soup. I let out a cynical sneer. Discarding me the exact moment I'm no longer useful was truly the signature, unapologetic style of Bai Ningbing. I merely nodded, heading down to the underground parking lot to start my car. After a brief pause, I decided I wasn't going home, nor was I heading to any supermarket. Instead, I steered the vehicle straight toward the office. The moment I arrived at the company, I went to meet my business partner, Imo Sinyen. Since I hadn't brought an umbrella earlier, I had been caught in a light drizzle, leaving my entire body completely drenched, and I could feel my head beginning to spin with dizziness. Imo Sinyen was visibly taken aback by my sudden appearance, considering I had explicitly told him just days ago that I needed to prepare for a wedding proposal and wouldn't be coming into the office regularly. I took a slow sip of hot water, and the words that dropped from my mouth left Imo Sinyen completely thunderstruck. I want to resign. Resign? You're doing an incredible job as our chief executive officer. Where on earth do you think you're running off to? Doesn't that miss by demand a luxury villa put under her name as a premarital asset, on top of a massive bride price of 99,990 yuan? If you go ahead and resign right now, how do you expect to afford bankrolling her? Honestly, if you were to just dump her and marry someone else, you could literally retire right this instant and live like a king. I'm not looking to abandon the company completely. I just want to step back into a behind-the-scenes advisory role. Some people simply aren't worth me burning myself out and sacrificing my health for anymore. After successfully handing over all of my ongoing corporate responsibilities, I finally headed back to the villa. Bai Ningbing was clutching a grocery bag, her face contorted with pure irritation. I told you to go grab the groceries. Where the hell did you disappear to? Putting on that miserable, sulking face all day long and acting so incredibly petty. Are you even a real man? I didn't bother wasting my breath on her, walking past her to grab the suitcase that I had already fully packed. Are you heading out on a business trip? Let me help you pack. For 100. Oh, let me clean this up myself. Let me help you. Bai Ningbing froze. The company reassigned my tasks, so I'll be staying at the office. For a few days, my voice was flat and deadpan as I spun the lie. Bai Ningbing knew how incredibly demanding my work could be, and going on business trips or pulling all-nighters at the office was a completely normal routine. Previously, she wouldn't have given a damn, but for some inexplicable reason, she felt an uneasy vibe today. How many days will you be gone? Do you need me to help you pack your clothes? Facing this sudden, uncharacteristic sweetness from Bai Ningbing, I didn't feel a shred of warmth. Instead, it was just awkward. But before I could even formulate an excuse, Bai Ningbing's phone suddenly pong. She listened to a few words, knitted her brows, and switched on speakerphone. Director Su, it's me, Lin Chi-hui. My health condition at the hospital today has been incredibly poor, and my words might have offended you. I truly hope you won't take it to heart. It's just that the doctor just informed me that my vitals have dropped dangerously low again. I know the idea of having a child with Ningbing sounds completely unhinged, but we are strictly doing IVF. We will absolutely never do anything else. I beg of you. His voice sounded choked with tears, but it was pathetic. I was literally just at the hospital earlier. Why on earth didn't Lin Chi-hui say this directly to my face? He was obviously doing this to manipulate Bai Ningbing's pity, ensuring she would rush straight back to the hospital. If I hadn't witnessed Lin Chi-hui's incredibly smug and provocative face with my own eyes, I might have actually felt sorry for him. But at this point, I was far too exhausted to play along with their toxic drama anymore. I merely let out an indifferent mumble, turning back to my room to finish packing my belongings. By the time I zipped up my suitcase and stepped out, I found Bai Ningbing standing completely frozen. Her face was dark with rage, and her glare was burning with resentment as she stared cham-cham at me. Your lordship wife just called you. Bai Ningbing spat out her eyes widening in fury, as she glared at me, clearly demanding a full explanation. This was the absolute first time I had ever seen Bai Ningbing lose her cold, unbothered composure, looking completely rattled. Honestly, achieving my current status before even hitting 30, climbing all the way to the position of Chief Executive Officer. 450. To the prestigious position of Chief Executive Officer. Made me a highly sought-after catch anywhere. Countless people pursued me, and there were even some completely infatuated girls who would chase me right to my doorstep just to confess their love and cling to me relentlessly. Back then, I wanted to explain everything, but deep down, I actually held a glimmer of anticipation. I desperately wanted to see whether Bai Ningbing would get jealous, or if she would even get angry. Yet Bai Ningbing merely muttered a single sentence, "Don't just block the front door," making a scene and ruining my sleep, and then apathetically slammed the door shut. She went to work as usual, not even bothering to ask another single question. That kind of agonizing, one-sided devotion was something I endured for 7 long years. And right now, though, I finally saw pure jealousy flashing across her face and witnessed the intense emotions I had always craved. My heart failed to feel even a single flicker of warmth. I calmly picked up my phone, but just as I was about to speak, Bai Ningbing's own phone suddenly lit up. She glanced at the screen and instantly stood up in a sheer panic. "I'll settle scores with you later. I have to rush to the hospital first." It was that exact same exhausted routine again. I had witnessed it countless times, but this time I didn't bother stopping her anymore, because I had a far more important matter to attend to. Lin Yao Yao had returned to the country ahead of schedule, and I had to rush to the airport to pick her up. As I arrived at the airport clutching a bouquet of flowers, I kept wondering what urgent matter had brought Lin Yao Yao back so quickly, but she merely blushed and started asking about the most trivial things. "Have you had dinner yet? Why do I feel like you've gotten so much skinnier than before? Has work been completely overwhelming lately? Oh, my, it's freezing outside. Why are you dressed so lightly without even wearing a proper coat?" I strolled alongside her, patiently, answering every single one of her questions. After what felt like an eternity, Lin Yao Yao finally hesitated and spoke in a nervous whisper. "Yan, what you said about wanting to marry me, was it truly real? I know you have a girlfriend whom you've been dating for 7 years, and that you love her deeply, right?" I froze. But for Lin Yao Yao to think this way was completely understandable. Over those 7 years, every single aspect of my life was utterly saturated with Bai Ningbing's presence. My profile picture was a matching couple's photo with Bai Ningbing, and even my office desk featured a framed picture of her. I remained completely silent for a long, heavy moment, which clearly made Lin Yao Yao incredibly anxious. She could only nervously clench her palms, her mind racing like wildfire, burning inside, absolutely terrified that I would say I was just playing with her. Yao's hands looking directly into her eyes as I spoke with absolute sincerity. Bai Ningbing is already ancient history. At this point, I have completely let her go. Rest assured, my desire to marry you is entirely genuine. I will absolutely never let her affect my decision or change my mind. The radiant warmth radiating from my large palms transferred straight to her, bringing Lin Yao Yao an indescribable sense. Lòng cô ấy thực sự rất sợ tôi sẽ nói là đang lừa cô ấy. Tôi nắm lấy tay Lâm Diệu. Diệu nhìn vào mắt cô ấy chân thành nói, "Bạch Ngưng Băng, đã là quá khứ rồi, bây giờ anh đã buông bỏ rồi, em yên tâm. Anh nói muốn cưới em là thật lòng tuyệt đối, sẽ không vì cô ta mà thay đổi hơi ấm từ bàn tay to lớn của tôi chuyển đến khiến Lâm Diệu Diệu cảm thấy an lòng một cách khó tả. Hai người đã quá lâu không gặp. Chúng tôi không chỉ có rất nhiều chuyện để nói mà Lâm Diệu Diệu so với trước đây còn dịu dàng thục nữ hơn, xinh đẹp đến mức tôi có chút không dám nhìn nữa." Nói Bạch Ngưng Băng là mỹ nhân băng giá thì Lâm Diệu Diệu chính là vẻ đẹp ngọt ngào rạng rỡ như ánh mặt trời ở bên cạnh. Cô ấy không chỉ không có bất kỳ áp lực nào mà còn cảm thấy vô cùng thoải mái. Chúng tôi trò chuyện đến tận khuya, vậy chúng ta quyết định một tuần sau nhé. Một tuần sau chúng ta đi đăng ký kết hôn. Được. Sau khi đưa Lâm Diệu Diệu về khách sạn, tôi mới về nhà. Điều tôi không ngờ là Bạch Ngưng Băng đang ngồi trên ghế sofa nhìn tôi chằm. Chằm em biết cái ghi chú đó là trò đùa của anh chỉ muốn gây sự chú ý của em mà thôi. Hương ngôn anh làm. Vậy thật sự rất trẻ con, tôi có chút ngạc nhiên. Về mặt quan tâm của Bạch Ngưng Băng như vậy rất rõ ràng là sự chiếm hữu, nhưng yêu nhau 7 năm. Đến bây giờ khi lòng tôi đã nguội lạnh, Bạch Ngưng Băng mới thể hiện một chút quan tâm. Đã quá muộn rồi. Bạch Ngưng Băng nhận được câu trả lời hài lòng liền đứng dậy. Được rồi, em phải đến bệnh viện. Đây Diêu Huy nói ngày mốt muốn mời chúng ta ăn cơm. Anh thấy người ta hào phóng không, anh nhất định phải đến. Đừng có không nể mặt hào phóng. Tôi suýt nữa thì bật cười thành tiếng nhưng chưa kịp để tôi mở lời từ chối. Bạch Ngưng Băng đã xách theo hộp canh vội vàng chạy ra ngoài không cho tôi cơ hội lên tiếng. Quả nhiên, mấy ngày sau Bạch Ngưng Băng vẫn không ngừng quấy rầy tôi. Lê Huy đã đặt nhà hàng hải sản rồi. Even doing, when she heard the news, she merely dismissed it with a cold, indifferent scoff. You're already this old, yet you can't even take proper care of your own damn self. How completely pathetic. In by Ning Bing's eyes, the man she actually loves deserves her staying at the hospital, day and night, to nurse him, while the man she doesn't love is simply not worth mentioning, undeserving of even a single shred of her genuine concern. And throughout those 7 agonizing years, I was precisely that miserable, neglected soul. Are you even listening to me? By Ning Bing screamed through the receiver, flying into a total rage, seemingly furious that I didn't immediately cater to her demands. She clearly knew that my attitude lately had been completely off, and for the first time Bai Ning Bing actually felt a wave of sheer panic. Thus, she forced her voice to soften up, murmuring, Yin, just wait until I wrap things up here at the hospital, and then I'll finally consider your marriage proposal, all right? My heart couldn't help but swell with bitter irony. Why on earth is it that the exact moment I've completely made up my mind, Bai Ning Bing chooses to relentlessly torment and toy with me like this? But suddenly, Lin Chi Huey's voice echoed through the other end of the line, sounding completely contrived and loaded with artificial pain. Babe, I feel like I can't breathe. It hurts so much. Immediately following, there was a sharp gasp of panic from Bai Ning Bing, as if Lin Chi Hui had deliberately collapsed his entire body right onto her. Kiwi, are you okay? Hurry, just wrap your arms around me. It'll make you feel a little better. You're always doing this, never letting me have a single moment of peace. The second I take my eyes off you, you go ahead and drive me sick with worry. Bai Ning Bing's voice was dripping with absolute honeyed tenderness, sounding exactly as if she were sweet-talking a spoiled, naughty child, completely forgetting that I was still actively on the other end of the line. And as I sat there listening to her nauseating, doting tone, I directly slammed the phone down, cutting off the call. Let those two enjoy their pathetic dinner alone, carrying my, as if she were tenderly coaxing a spoiled, misbehaving child, completely oblivious to the fact that I was still clinging onto the other end of the line. And the moment I heard her nauseatingly affectionate tone, I instantly slammed down the receiver and cut the call. Go ahead and enjoy your cozy meal together, I muttered, carrying my own bags along with all my discarded affection. I had absolutely no intention of going, nor did I ever plan to attend, because the day after tomorrow was the exact date of my grand engagement banquet with Lin Yao Yao. Inside the banquet hall, the atmosphere was incredibly festive and bustling. Lin Yao Yao was stunningly dressed in a breathtaking crimson cheongsam that was both profoundly elegant and subtly alluring, leaving me utterly mesmerized for a moment. Wah, Su-Jian, when you previously claimed you were tying the knot, we seriously thought you were just talking nonsense out of spite. We literally assumed you just find some random rebound to replace by Ning Bing. But damn, this new bride of yours is an absolute goddess. You're incredibly lucky, man. Seeing us chat, Lin Yao Yao politely turned to step away, seemingly wanting to grant me some private space with my close friends, but I firmly wrapped my arm around her shoulders. Right on cue, the crowd erupted into playful teasing. Come on, you guys haven't even officially signed the papers yet, and you're already flexing this hard? But seriously, Su-Yan, have you truly severed ties with Bai Ning Bing for good? Does she even have any idea that you're marrying someone else? The exact second those words dropped, the massive entrance doors were violently swung wide open. Ku sada kakskumen nedi Bai Ning Bing akresiwedi stormet. Bai Ning Bing took a slow, agonizing step forward into the hall. Does she know what exactly? Every single person present froze in dead silence. Right beside me stood my future, while standing directly ahead was my past. Lin Yao. Yao immediately tried to react by slipping away from my embrace, but I resolutely and tightly gripped her hand, refusing to let go. What on earth are you doing here? Last time, you faked that contact status just to mess with me, and now you've actually dragged your friends here to orchestrate this elaborate drama. Even setting up a whole fake wedding banquet, haven't you? Suyin, just to trick me. You really went above and beyond. Staring at the absolute conviction in Bai Ningbing's eyes, I realized she didn't harbor a single shred of doubt. After all, she knew I loved her so desperately that I'd willingly sacrifice my own life for her. 3 years ago, Bai Ningbing was involved in a horrific car accident. At that time, I was working on an urgent project abroad, but the split second I heard the news, I immediately canceled everything to board the fastest flight back home. When the doctor informed me that she urgently required a matching kidney donor, I didn't even hesitate. Before actively signing the organ donor consent forms, she remained hospitalized for a whole month, and I completely shelved every single crucial corporate deal just to be at her side and nurse her day and night. The exact moment she finally opened her eyes, the very first person she saw was me, completely frantic with worry. Back then, Bai Ningbing was profoundly moved, weeping as she promised she would spend the rest of her life making me happy. But time completely erodes everything. That grueling, agonizing month spent saving her life ultimately resulted in severe damage to my own health, leaving me prone to physical exhaustion and constant illness. Yet Bai Ningbing confidently assumed that there would absolutely never be anyone else in this world who would love her as fiercely and unconditionally as I did. At that exact moment, she felt overwhelmingly triumphant. That's precisely why, even though I was currently standing here in a groom's tuxedo right next to a drop-dead gorgeous girl, she still firmly believed that I was just putting on a desperate show to trick her. Exactly. That's right, Bai Ningbing. You and Su Yin have such an incredibly rock-solid relationship. There is absolutely no way he could ever fall for anyone else. Just a month ago, wasn't he literally orchestrating a massive marriage proposal for you? I simply wanted to get rid of her as quickly as humanly possible, so I didn't even bother to argue. What exactly are you doing here? Bai Ningbing fully expected that I would get incredibly emotional, or that I would throw a tantrum and try to threaten her just to force her to stay by my side. However, catching a glimpse of my completely icy, indifferent expression right now genuinely caught Bai Ningbing off guard, leaving her momentarily stunned. But before she could even utter another word, her phone violently rang again. Without a single shred of hesitation, Bai Ningbing answered the call, and as she listened, her brows knitted tightly together as if some catastrophic emergency had just unfolded. Su Dang, you need to drop everything and come to the hospital with me right now. Bai Ningbing's face grew incredibly grave and serious. Seeing the sheer urgency, Lin Yao magnanimously patted my shoulder, telling me that I should go ahead and follow Bai Ningbing. Honestly, I fully intended to reject her, but Bai Ningbing didn't give me a single second to object. She aggressively shoved me into her car, slammed her foot down on the gas pedal, and sped off. By this time, Bai Ningbing's eyes were already brimming with frantic tears. I could distinctly feel the suffocating, heavy tension in the air. Sobbing hysterically, she recklessly blew past 7 or 8 red lights until we screeched to a halt at the hospital. She forcefully dragged me along as we sprinted up the stairs. The absolute second the two of us, completely breathless, reached the VIP ward, Bai Ningbing shrieked at the top of her lungs for the medical staff. Doctor, get over here right now. Use my boyfriend's kidney. My boyfriend's kidney is a flawless match. For Chi Hui, my boyfriend willingly consents to the kidney donation. Doctor, it doesn't matter how much it costs. I am ready to pay absolutely any amount. Just harvest my boyfriend's kidney and give it to Chi Hui immediately. It was only at this exact moment that I finally realized the sinister motive behind Bai Ningbing's frantic search for me today. it was solely because Lin Chi Hui was in critical condition and desperately needed my kidney to survive. No wonder. 2 months ago, Bai Ning Bing suddenly insisted that I undergo a comprehensive medical checkup, specifically including a thorough kidney compatibility screening. At the time, I was completely baffled by the request, but now, 700. At first, a wave of confusion completely washed over me, but the exact millisecond. Back then, Bai Ningbing had hesitantly lied to me, claiming it was a routine screening to prepare for our upcoming marriage. Looking at it now, it's clear as day that Bai Ningbing merely wanted to exploit my healthy body, just to keep her beloved Lin Chi Hui alive. But had Bai Ningbing ever even bothered to ask for my consent? Did she even truly know who her boyfriend actually was? Wait, so this guy is your actual boyfriend? Then, who on earth is that Lin Chi Hui person in the ward? To you? Because Bai Ningbing had been staying by Lin Chi Hui's side day and night, the doctor naturally assumed that Lin Chi Hui was Bai Ningbing's actual husband. As for me, listening to those words made my entire body turn completely numb with cold. Bai Ningbing completely ignored my pale, ghost-like face and forcefully tugged at my arm, dragging me toward the operating room. What are you just standing there frozen for? Go on, get in there, and get the kidney transplant done. I let out a cynical, mocking sneer and violently slapped Bai Ningbing's hand away. Only then did Bai Ningbing belatedly turn her head back, looking completely stunned. What is wrong with you? Bai Ningbing felt an overwhelming sense of dread. My utterly cold and completely detached demeanor sent an indescribable wave of sheer panic surging deep within her heart. However, with Lin Chi Hui actively trapped in the emergency room and his condition becoming critically severe by the second, the situation was incredibly desperate. Bai Ningbing could only force herself to patiently coax me, pleading, Suyin, please don't worry. It's honestly just donating a single kidney. It's not a big deal at all. It's precisely because I have absolute faith in you that I'm asking you to do this for him. Rest assured, once we finally get married after this, I will take absolute, flawless care of you. Because she trusted me, she expected me to just sacrifice my body. It was glaringly obvious that Bai Ningbing didn't give a single damn about my actual survival or my life. I stared at her as if I were looking at a complete stranger I had never laid eyes on before. Suddenly, the green light of the operating room violently flashed to a warning. Red, and the surgeon inside hurriedly rushed out. Bai Ningbing didn't care about me anymore and directly charged into the surgical ward. Terrified to her core by the sudden, catastrophic downturn in the operation, her face was completely drenched in frantic tears as she began babbling incoherently, while desperately clinging to Lin Chi Hui's side. No matter how hard the medical staff tried to pull her away, she flatly refused to step outside. Because of that, Bai Ningbing failed to notice that the very person she merely viewed as a walking blood bag and a replaceable kidney donor had already walked out. Over at Lin Yao's side, the engagement banquet had long since wound down. I quietly drove my car. QEV. No matter how hard the medical staff yanked, she violently resisted leaving the room. Because of this, Bai Ningbing failed to notice that the very person she arrogantly viewed as a mere disposable blood bag and kidney donor had already vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, on Lin Yao's side, the engagement ceremony had wrapped up ages ago. I was behind the wheel driving straight to my house, right in front of Lin Yao. I ruthlessly threw away every single couple's photo of the two of us, along with an endless pile of shared belongings. In just a single night, I purged a staggering amount of memories. Lin Yao gently held me back, saying with a hint of sympathy, after all, these are your precious memories. You don't have to throw everything away like this. You could just lock them away in the storage room, instead of tossing them out, treating it as a closed chapter. Since I've fully committed to marrying you, I honestly don't mind your past at all. Lin Yao was incredibly understanding, but I still resolutely threw every single remnant away. Once the purge was completely finished, I immediately handed all the ownership documents of the villa to my personal assistant, instructing him to find a buyer and liquidate it as soon as possible. I looked around at the intensely familiar surroundings, and my heart still felt a lingering twinge of bittersweet nostalgia. This luxury Riverview penthouse was the crown jewel of my grueling, unrelenting hustle, slaving away day and night for 5 straight years. Right after graduation, just to scrape together enough savings to finally purchase it. It was solely because Bai Ningbing once mentioned that she adored watching the river views and fantasized about living in a massive home. Just for that single, casual comment, I literally worked myself to the bone. I genuinely believed that the moment we finally shared a home together, Bai Ningbing would come back to me every day, fall deeply in love with me, become utterly inseparable from me, and ultimately lean entirely on me. But up until this very moment, that pathetic dream of mine never stood a chance of becoming a reality. I called a professional moving company. As reality, I immediately summoned a moving crew. While back inside to grab my final suitcase. Right at that exact moment, Bai Ningbing abruptly walked through the door. Are you going on a business trip? Why on earth did you pack so much stuff? I merely let out a dry chuckle, neither confirming nor denying her clueless assumption about the kidney donation I brought up to you earlier today. How exactly have you thought it over? It won't be too late for you to head out on your trip after you finish the transplant surgery, right? Just push it back a few days. Because I didn't bother arguing with her absurd commands, Bai Ningbing instantly assumed that I had submissively agreed. She gleefully strutted into the kitchen. Ever since we graduated from college, I had never once let Bai Ningbing handle the cooking. I always personally prepared every single meal for her. It was only on the rarest occasions when Bai Ningbing felt a sudden pang of guilt or happened to be in an exceptionally phenomenal mood that she would actually step foot into the kitchen. Just like right now. Bai Ningbing, solely to show her gratitude. Now, Bai Ningbing, in order to feel. To me, for submissively agreeing to harvest my kidney, was lightheartedly humming a tune as she strutted into the kitchen. After we finished eating, Bai Ningbing abruptly wrapped her arms around me from behind. My chest suddenly shuddered. It had been an absolute eternity since Bai Ningbing had initiated any intimacy. Every single time we got physically close, I had to tread on eggshells and beg for her permission before she would ever reluctantly agree. And even after that, I would have to shower her with luxury bags and expensive gifts, just to humbly trade for a single shred of her superficial warmth. But right now, my utterly frigid voice instantly cut short her escalating, suggestive movements. Is there something you need? Suyin, I know this whole kidney donation business is genuinely asking a lot from you, but I solemnly swear to you right here, no matter what complications happen to your health, I will absolutely never, ever abandon you. I will cherish and take care of you for the rest of my entire life. She gently pushed me down onto the sofa, but what she completely failed to anticipate was that I merely knitted my brows, my eyes devoid of even a single trace of desire. Put your clothes back on. 8:23, I have things to attend to in a bit. Bai Ningbing glanced at my slightly flushed earlobes, into her clothes, and burst into a soft chuckle, assuming that I wasn't actually rejecting her, but was simply feeling shy and flustered because of my upcoming errands. I've already resigned from my job, and I plan to spend all my time right by his side for the foreseeable future. Bai Ningbing murmured, intently scanning my face for a reaction. In the past, every single time Bai Ningbing brought up Lin Qihui, my entire countenance would instantly sour, and I would even fly into a total rage, triggering a massive shouting match with her. Yet right now, my expression remained completely flat and indifferent. Why? She constantly felt that I was entirely different from before, yet she couldn't quite put her finger on exactly why. I silently listened to her talking, my heart completely numb and devoid of a single flicker of emotion. It's your career. You can make your own decisions. I let out a tired sigh, standing up and preparing to leave. For some inexplicable reason, she suddenly felt an ominous sensation, as if something incredibly vital was gradually slipping away from her. Yet she couldn't articulate exactly what it was. Driven by absolute instinct, she abruptly lunged forward and wrapped her arms tightly around me. Please don't leave. You already know that Qi Hui is my absolute, irreplaceable childhood sweetheart. He first lost his parents in a tragic accident, and now his entire health is completely failing. 850. And right after that, her health plummeted down and faced massive issues once again. Down. As his absolute closest friend, I am genuinely sick with worry. I don't have an endless amount of time to just waste, but we might not be able to hang on for much longer. Just wait until I've stayed by his side through this rough patch. And then I'll make everything up to you, okay? I remained tight-lipped for a split second, gave a cold nod, and forcefully pried by Ning Bing's hands off my waist. I walked straight out the front door. I knew deep down that this was probably the absolute last time I would ever set foot inside this house. Between the two of us, there was no longer a single shred of a future left. I had absolutely nothing to feel guilty about when it came to Bai Ning Bing. In whatever disastrous way she chose to live the rest of her life was no longer any concern of mine. Outside, the skies suddenly opened up, and heavy snow began to blanket the entire world in white. Bai Ning Bing watched me step out into the cold, suddenly feeling an intense wave of déjà vu. It felt exactly like many years ago, on an identical day when the snow was falling just as heavily, that I had passionately confessed my love to her. But right now, that blinding, endless sheet of white only framed the distant silhouette of my departing back. Su Dang, wait a second. Let me go inside and grab an umbrella for you. Bai Ning Bing called out, before frantically bolting up the stairs to rummage through the closets to find one. But the house had always been meticulously organized by me, so Bai Ning Bing had absolutely no clue where the umbrellas were kept. By the time Bai Ning Bing finally managed to stumble upon one, after an exhausting search, she dashed out the front door only to find that I had already vanished into the freezing, white abyss. At that exact moment, a hollow, suffocating emptiness completely consumed her heart. Truth be told, there was a burning question she desperately wanted to ask. She wanted to know exactly when I would be returning home, promising herself that when that day came, she would whip up a massive, delicious feast. Just for me. But she quickly brushed it off. They still had an eternity of time together. She would just wait until I got back from my business trip, and then she would completely make it up to me and salvage our relationship. Meanwhile, out in the pitch black night, I finally brought the engine to life. I caught sight of Bai Ning Bing opening the front door and peering anxiously out into the cold, yet she ultimately never took a single step forward to chase after me, not even to put on a superficial show of looking for me. For just a brief moment, deep inside my chest, there was still a pathetic, lingering sliver of hope. I was desperately wishing that this entire 7-year relationship wasn't just a completely one-sided joke, that it wasn't all just a hollow, meaningless delusion. But in the absolute end, Bai Ning Bing still managed to utterly crush my spirit. I stared back at the villa where I had lived for 5 consecutive years, reflecting on everything that had transpired between myself and Bai Ning Bing. The crushing bitterness, the beautiful moments, and the countless ordinary, mundane days we shared. All of these agonizing, melancholic emotions. 900. Bizarrely, all of these heartbreaking, melancholic emotions. At that exact microsecond, when I saw Bai Ning Bing completely shut the door, instantly transformed into total serenity and liberating closure. I had fully let go, entirely moved on, having transferred all my belongings and finalized the paperwork for the house sale. I let out a long, heavy sigh of relief. While I was still intensely focused on answering business emails on my phone, a sudden delightful fragrance wafted right into my senses. Welcome, Chief Executive Officer Su, to our humble city for your official corporate inspection. Welcome, welcome. Peeking out from behind a massive bouquet of flowers was Lin Yao Yao, playfully winking and beaming at me. Completely different from her innocent, childish days, Lin Yao Yao still possessed a vibrant, lively charm, yet her elegant style of dress beautifully carried the unmistakable grace of a high society heiress. My eyes flared with absolute awe and admiration. Technically speaking, we were literally about to become husband and wife, yet I still found myself blushing furiously and instinctively, turning my gaze away out of sheer embarrassment. What's wrong? Are you only just realizing right now that I'm an absolute goddess? Isn't it a bit too late for that? Once we officially tie the knot and become husband and wife, we're going to be sharing the exact same bed. If you're getting this flustered already, isn't it a bit too early? I highly suggest you accept reality right now and start getting used to me. You, that mischievous personality of yours hasn't changed a bit since we were kids. Is keeping things unchanged a bad thing? In modern society, everything fluctuates. So fast, jobs change, business models change, and everything moves at lightning speed. But I deeply pray that the bond and affection between the two of us can remain absolutely unshakable, just like old times. Lin Yao. Yao stared directly into my eyes with utter seriousness, as if she desperately wanted to reassure me that her feelings toward our relationship and this upcoming marriage were completely sacred and unwavering. This very instant transported me back to when we were both just 18 years old. Back then, the two of us were completely buried in intense preparation for the grueling college entrance exams. Lin Yao back then didn't wear a single shred of makeup, yet relying solely on her bubbling, infectious personality and raw, natural beauty, she effortlessly became the undisputed, reigning school beauty of our campus. However, whenever any bold male student tried to confess his feelings to her, she would ruthlessly shut them down with the same line: "Forget it. As students, we should focus 100 on our education." At that exact time, I had just finished pouring my heart into a love letter, written specifically for her. Overhearing her blunt statement, I immediately shoved the confession letter deep inside my textbook. I was paralyzed with hesitation and absolute terror. Even though Lin Yao and I were absolute childhood sweethearts, what if she simply didn't feel the same way about me? I ultimately decided to wait until after the grueling college entrance exams were completely over to finally confess my deepest feelings. But right after graduation, Lin Yao suddenly immigrated abroad, while I headed to a completely different city for university. We missed our chance just like that, leaving behind raw, adolescent regrets and boundless, aching remorse. Yet all of that was already ancient history. I casually asked her, "In all these years, have you really never loved anyone else? Is it purely due to family pressure that you finally agreed?" 962 to this completely absurd, shotgun marriage proposal. Agreed to that absolutely wild, insane proposition of mine? She froze in place for a solid second. "Do you have any idea that on the exact day I moved away, I stood there waiting for you for an absolute eternity? Right outside your front gate? This time it was my turn to be utterly dumbfounded. I vividly recall that after Lin Yao immigrated, my spirit completely plunged into a dark abyss, causing me to immediately throw myself into a part-time job. I genuinely believed that since Lin Yao was already gone, I should just use relentless labor to completely numb my agonizing emotions. Who would have thought that she was actually waiting for me all along? Lin Yao stared at my completely stunned expression and let out a gentle sigh. I honestly thought that I had made my feelings glaringly obvious back then. Yet I never expected that you would still be entirely oblivious to my heart. On that final day, I was waiting for you, but I was also desperately waiting for a long overdue love letter. Lin Yao's sudden revelation left my mind spinning in complete disbelief. Could it be that Lin Yao actually knew that I had painstakingly written a confession letter for her, and she was literally anticipating that very letter? If she was actively waiting for it, then back then, Lin Yao must have been secretly, deeply in love with me too. I felt as though at this exact microsecond, my entire brain was completely exploding with vibrant fireworks. Right after that, I suddenly felt the temperature inside the car surging intensely. Did you actually like me? Was it truly me that you loved? Lin Yao didn't hesitate for even a single 989 fraction of a second before directly answering me. Instantly, Lin Yao didn't hesitate for even a single. Her absolute certainty, her unwavering conviction, along with those shimmering, tear-filled eyes of hers made me completely realize that Lin Yao's fierce love for me had been silently and painstakingly hidden away for an absolute eternity. I have loved you for far longer than you ever loved by Ningbing. But throughout all these countless years, your eyes were never once on me, so I could only quietly wait for you to finally turn your head back, to look back and finally realize that I was right here. Turn around, instantly recognizing that you. She gently pulled a worn, faded love letter out from her designer purse. There was my own nostalgic, adolescent handwriting from a decade ago, Suyin, this is the exact love letter you wrote 10 years ago. Does the sacred promise we implicitly shared back then still hold true? I felt as though I were trapped in a mesmerizing dream, completely terrified that the second I woke up, everything would vanish into thin air. I stared at her, my heart swelling with an absolute avalanche of overwhelming emotions. To think that while I was blindly wasting away waiting for a heartless girl, there was someone else, patiently, silently waiting for me all along. I could no longer suppress the intense urge. I lunged forward and locked Lin Yao in a passionate embrace. Our body heat melded together, and the explosive sparks within our hearts beautifully intertwined, culminating into a deeply passionate brasleskis. Of course it still counts, Yao. Thank you for tirelessly walking 99 steps completely toward me. For this very last step, let me be the one to bridge the gap. Returning to our hometown meant going straight back to the nostalgic place where we both grew up. The Su family had long since relocated, while the Lin family only had a single ancestral estate remaining. Consequently, Lin Yao, and I mutually decided to temporarily settle down in the old Lin family house. The atmosphere inside the room suddenly turned intensely intimate and romantic. The two of us kept ourselves entirely occupied with tidying up the bedrooms, barely daring to lock eyes. Yet, I could clearly see the tips of Lin Yao's ears gradually flushing a deep, beautiful crimson. We talked flawlessly for hours, sharing an unbreakable connection until midnight finally arrived. Lin Yao shyly retreated to her own bedroom. Even though we've known each other for a lifetime, we still need to follow the proper marital protocols. In 2 days, I will formally bring betrothal gifts to visit your parents, and we'll finalize our marriage registration a week later. Honestly, Lin Yao was secretly wishing she could just marry me this very second, hoping that the two of us could be sharing the exact same room right now. Furthermore, her anxious parents had literally been worrying themselves sick, trying to get her married off. The moment they heard that she was finally marrying me, they were both utterly overjoyed. Without a single second thought, they immediately went out to pick a luxury car as her dowry, and they flatly refused to accept a single cent of bride price from me, unabashedly showing massive favoritism toward their future son-in-law. Still, as a woman, she naturally had to maintain a shred of modesty. She could only blush furiously as she gave a shy, compliant nod. Meanwhile, back in that other city, Bai Ningbing was fully intending to call me to demand exactly when I would show up for the kidney transplant. However, the head surgeon suddenly informed her of something infinitely more critical and alarming. Miss Bai, the outstanding balance for the VIP suite has already been overdue for a full week now. When exactly do you plan to settle this bill? The luxury VIP suite cost a staggering 30,000 yuan per day, and Bai Ningbing's credit cards had long since been completely maxed out, even swiped to the absolute maximum, causing her credit limit to explode. Miss Bai, Mr. Lin's total medical expenses have already exceeded 200,000 yuan. As of today, this must be cleared in full, or we will be forced to immediately transfer Mr. Lin back to his standard public ward. Lin Shihui had literally just gotten out of major surgery and absolutely could not be downgraded to a noisy, cramped general ward. No way. I need to confront him face to face and see what on earth he thinks he's playing at. She instinctively wanted to call my phone right then and there, demanding to know exactly why the automated medical payments had suddenly been terminated. But, realizing she still desperately needed to beg for my kidney later, she hesitated for a brief moment and ultimately decided to head straight back to the penthouse to corner me in person. Bai Ningbing stopped by a premium supermarket to buy groceries, deliberately picking up a ton of ingredients that I used to love eating. However, the exact moment she pushed open the front door, there was no familiar, doting voice waiting to greet her or relieve the heavy bags from her hands. It was already 10 o'clock at night, and the entire penthouse was completely shrouded in pitch-black darkness. Stepping inside Bai Ningbing could literally only hear the sound of her own anxious, shallow breathing. Once she finally flipped on the lights, she was met with a spotlessly clean, utterly sterile, and hollow mansion. Bai Ningbing felt as though the massive house had been completely drained of its soul. Her initial burst of confident energy was instantly suffocated by the eerie, dead silence, causing her enthusiasm to completely evaporate. Only at this very moment did Bai Ningbing finally recall the brief words I had left her with that I was heading out on a business trip. Feeling utterly deflated, Bai Ningbing tossed the groceries aside. She pulled out her phone, unlocked it, and opened our recent chat history on WeChat, only to suddenly realize that I hadn't initiated a single text message to her in an absolute eternity. Our entire conversation was completely frozen. Several weeks in the past, even though her massive ego made her feel incredibly irritated by this realization, Bai Ningbing still forced herself to swallow her pride and type out a text. "Are you asleep yet? When exactly? Are you coming back?" The split second the message was sent, Bai Ningbing instinctively stared unblinkingly at the glowing screen of her phone with an anxious, fluttering heart, desperately waiting for it to light up with a reply. Yet, a full hour slowly ticked by, and the phone remained completely, agonizingly silent. On the counter, she assumed he must be completely buried in work. He must be too exhausted and fell asleep. Bai Ningbing anxiously reassured herself. She decided to take a quick shower, figuring that when I replied to her text tomorrow, they could have a proper conversation about the urgent hospital expenses, as well as finalize their upcoming marriage plans. Utterly drained, Bai Ningbing sluggishly walked toward the master bedroom, but the exact microsecond she pushed the door open, she completely froze dead in her tracks. The room that was once so warm and cozy had been stripped entirely bare. The bed was gone, the nightstands were missing, and even all the cherished, heartwarming couples photos adorning the walls had completely vanished. Panic-stricken, she bolted back to the living room and immediately pulled out her phone to dial my number. But from the other end of the line, only a cold, mechanical automated voice echoed. "We're sorry, the number you have dialed does not exist. Please check the number and try again." Does not exist? How on earth can it not exist? There was only one logical explanation left. Refusing to believe it, Bai Ningbing frantically fired off a WeChat message to my account. A mere split second later, a massive, glaring red exclamation mark popped up right before her eyes. Bai Ningbing's hands shook uncontrollably. I had actually completely blocked her. A terrifying realization suddenly exploded inside her mind. Could it be that I was genuinely, unbreakably through with her? She frantically replayed every single recent interaction, desperately trying to connect the dots and find any hidden clues. Suddenly, her eyes swept across the room and locked onto the living room coffee table, where a single sheet of paper was meticulously placed, right in the center, glimpsing the words. She stood entirely paralyzed. "Bai Ningbing, it's over between us. I've already married someone else." Bai Ningbing clutched the note, her fingers trembling violently. I was truly, completely cutting her out of my life. By the time Bai Ningbing fully digested the catastrophic reality of the situation, she belatedly reached up to touch her face, only to find her hand drenched in freezing, bitter tears. It turned out she had been weeping hysterically without even realizing herself, staring at that glaring red exclamation mark. She completely lost her mind and redialed my number over and over again, but the other end still endlessly replayed that same cold, robotic automated message. Bai Ningbing screamed out in absolute agony. "Su Yan, what gives you the right to just silently walk out on me like this? I demand you come back." Her eyes were completely bloodshot as she mechanically, obsessively redialed the number again and again, frantically calling her phone over and over again. The agonizing sting of being abruptly abandoned instantly morphed into a blazing, unnameable fury consuming Bai Ningbing's intensely self-pitying heart. She simply couldn't fathom why on earth I was overreacting. Lately, she had merely been a tiny bit more attentive toward Lin Chi-hui, but the guy was literally a critically ill patient. Besides, she was just taking care of a sick friend. So did I really have to be so incredibly petty and calculative over it? But right now, Bai Ningbing desperately needed to re-establish contact with me. She was currently completely broke and unable to settle the staggering medical bills, let alone the fact that she still had to beg me for my kidney. After a brief moment of frantic thought, she posted a desperate status update on her social media feed, asking our mutual friends for any leads on my current whereabouts. Yet another agonizing hour ticked away, and not a soul replied. Bai Ningbing was suddenly overwhelmed by a wave of profound defeat and utter helplessness. Slumping down, she let out a hollow sigh and lay flat on the cold floor, tightly shutting her eyes. She desperately prayed that the moment she opened her eyes tomorrow morning, I would be the one crawling back to find her. The following morning, the very instant Bai Ningbing woke up, her phone was blowing up with a barrage of WeChat notifications. Overjoyed, she frantically unlocked her screen and scrolled endlessly, yet the one specific name she was desperately hunting for was nowhere to be found. A bitter wave of disappointment washed over Bai Ningbing's heart as she mindlessly skimmed through the random notifications on her phone. Her attention was suddenly arrested by a striking status update on her social media timeline. It was posted by one of her old university classmates. The attachment featured a collection of live photos from a lavish wedding ceremony. Zooming in to inspect the faces, her entire body instantly froze solid. 11:85, right out of the blue, her phone vibrated violently. She completely out of the blue received an unexpected with an incoming call. Ningbing, today is Suyan's grand wedding day. Why on earth aren't you here? I completely assumed the bride was going to be you, and I even prepared a special gift specifically for you. But today, I ended up congratulating the completely wrong person and made an absolute fool of myself. Suyan treated you like an absolute queen for years. So how can you just sit back and watch him marry another woman? It was a frantic call from her friend Ling. Ling, the relentless barrage of questions left Bai Ningbing completely paralyzed and speechless. Bai Ningbing fiercely refused to believe it. She was utterly convinced that I was just playing my usual pathetic mind games to throw a tantrum, throwing a fit just to manipulate Bai Ningbing into crawling back and begging for my attention. Convincing herself of this delusion, her body instantly surged with a fresh wave of desperate energy. She immediately snapped out of her daze. Send me your current location. Right now. I'm heading over this instant. We're in City D, Suyan's actual hometown. Wait, you didn't know? Hearing this, Bai Ningbing's heart instantly plummeted. City D. If her memory served her right, 1206, that was indeed my birthplace. I had spent. This is my homeland, the nostalgic place where I once. So many years avoiding my hometown, just for her sake, and I had even severed ties with my own parents, and triggered massive feuds with my entire family. Meanwhile, inside the magnificent wedding hall, the festive atmosphere was absolutely electric. The two newlyweds were completely occupied with greeting and welcoming the guests, radiating the pure, heartwarming bliss of a newly married couple. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with an incoming call from an unknown number. I naturally assumed it was the wedding planner, or the MC reminding me that it was time to kick off the main ceremony. Without a second thought, I answered it immediately, right in front of Lin Yao Yao. But a mere split second later, a frantic, desperate voice burst through the speaker. It was Bai Ningbing. Su Jiang, you finally picked up my call. When exactly are you coming home? I miss you so much, Suyan. Please stop blocking me. I finally realized that my behavior over the past few weeks was completely uncalled for. I know you're only staging this entire dramatic wedding farce just to spite me and get a reaction. I admit my mistake, okay? Just tell me exactly where you are right now, and I'll jump in a car and come find you. This very second. I am genuinely, deeply sorry. Please just come back to me, okay? Bai Ningbing's voice was dripping with unusual softness. 12:30, sounding entirely genuine and deeply apologetic. But before she could even breathe, seemed completely sincere as she begged for forgiveness. But in a mere flash, a sweet, angelic voice of another woman echoed clearly from my end of the line. Hubby, whose call are you taking? Everyone is waiting out here for you to join the group. Photos. You're literally the only one missing. Hearing that intimate, affectionate term hubby felt like a violent, crushing slap straight across Bai Ningbing's face. Oh, it's just a spam marketing call. Nothing important. I'm coming right now, sweetie. Bai Ningbing could instantly recognize that my doting tone and profound patience were completely genuine. At that exact moment, she felt as though she had been struck by a violent bolt of lightning. Bai Ningbing sat paralyzed inside that hollow, deserted mansion, her mind frantically racing through every single odd event that had transpired over the past few weeks from that mysterious incoming call labeled wifey to my completely frigid, indifferent attitude toward her afterward. It turned out the warning signs were blindingly obvious all along. It turned out I had genuinely given my heart to another woman, driven by ser una adulterate panic, Bai Ningbing. Blindly shoved a few random clothes into a bag, carelessly tossed a few random sets of clothes into a bag, completely losing her mind, and bolted out the door. Driven by her frantic, obsessive interrogations, she finally managed to pry my family's hometown address out of our former classmate. Without a second thought, she booked the absolute earliest flight available to soar straight to me. At that precise second, Bai Ningbing received a text notification from the lead surgeon stating that Lin Chi-hui was urgently back on the chopping block for another immediate surgery. If this were the past, Bai Ningbing would have seamlessly, without an ounce of hesitation, rushed to the hospital. Yet for some inexplicable reason, the emotional scales inside her heart had suddenly tipped upside down. Her mind was now completely, utterly consumed by thoughts of me. The only thing she desperately wanted right now was to confront me face to face this very instant. Meanwhile, in City D, the wedding ceremony was reaching its absolute climax. Lin Yao Yao giggled softly as she leaned into my chest, our eyes locking into an affectionate stare amidst a beautiful storm of fluttering flower petals raining down upon us. A million unspoken words beautifully dissolved into a deep Bashenitkish. But right at that magical microsecond, outside the heavy, tightly closed entrance doors, a chaotic commotion erupted deep inside my chest. A sudden wave of dark premonition violently surged. I offered a gentle smile and told Lin Yao to keep mingling with our relatives while I personally headed over to the front entrance to investigate. The security guards looked incredibly uncomfortable. Mr. Su, the hysterical woman causing a scene outside, claims to be your actual wife. She even brandished photos of the two of you together, so we couldn't forcefully throw her out. If she truly is a close acquaintance of yours, we were deeply terrified of accidentally insulting one of your family members. She's merely a delusional ex-girlfriend, and we are completely through. Today is my wedding day, yet you actually allowed a lunatic to crash my venue? Do you all want to be fired on the spot? Hearing my harsh reprimand, they frantically nodded their heads in compliance and immediately marched outside, physically dragging Bai Ningbing away from the main gates. Bai Ningbing's face was entirely drenched in a flood of bitter tears. Hearing the guard state that I personally ordered her to beat it, she felt completely, utterly devastated. She found it entirely impossible to believe. Just a few short weeks ago, he was literally down on one knee begging to marry me. How on earth could he just casually tie the knot with some random woman now? I refuse to believe it. Tell Su Yan to come out and face me. Make him come out here right now. Bai Ningbing wept hysterically before her eyes suddenly rolled back and she completely passed out on the pavement. The panicked guards frantically scrambled to call an ambulance. Meanwhile, inside the venue, I dropped to one knee and slid a dazzling diamond ring onto Lin Yao Yao's finger. Yao Yao, marrying you is the single greatest milestone of my existence, and you are officially stuck with me forever, basking in the incredibly tender, affectionate gaze of Lin Yao. Yao, my heart was overflowing with pure ecstasy. Never before had I experienced such unadulterated, profound happiness. By the time Bai Ningbing finally drifted back to consciousness, the very first thing she did was desperately grill the physician. Doctor, did my boyfriend come by to visit me? What boyfriend? Over the past few days, absolutely no one has stepped foot in here to check on you. Just make sure you settle your own medical bills. All right? You're a grown adult, yet you're out here throwing a dangerous life and death tantrum over romance. The doctor finished his lecture and swiftly exited the room. Suddenly, outside the door, the distinct echo of footsteps resonated. Bai Ningbing frantically snapped her head up. Su Yang, you finally came, only to find herself staring directly into the ghostly pale face of Lin Jia. Hui, Lin Jia Hui, with deeply bloodshot eyes, desperately clutched Her hands, Ning Bing, tormenting your own mind and body to this absolute extreme over a worthless scumbag like that is completely beneath you the very second you wake up. He's the only one you care about. It's truly not worth it. You've barely survived, yet your entire mind is still completely wrapped around him. But what about him? What exactly is he up to right now? He has long since moved on, parading another beautiful woman around and living his absolute best life. Spitting out the words, Lin Jia Hui yanked his phone out, unlocked his social media feed, and forcefully shoved the screen right into Bai Ningbing's face. It was the exact soul-crushing image that Bai Ningbing dreaded seeing more than anything else in the universe. In the photo, the glowing newlyweds were flashing the most radiant, blissful smiles, holding each other incredibly close. 1332, they looked infinitely more intimate and passionately connected than she and I ever did during our entire time together. Seemed infinitely more intimate and affectionate than she and I had ever been in the past. How is this even possible? How on earth can this be happening? A 7-year relationship. How could he just casually throw it all away without a single shred of remorse and turn around to marry someone else? Bai Ningbing frantically shook her head in absolute denial. No, she refused to accept it. She needed to track me down and demand a proper explanation. But the moment she tried to bolt upright, a violent wave of intense vertigo completely overwhelmed her brain. On her phone screen, a missed call notification suddenly flashed. Bai Ningbing desperately snatched the device with a glimmer of agonizing hope, only to find that her notification center was completely flooded with endless alerts, maxed-out credit cards, severe overdue notices, and a mountain of unpaid bills that piled up to a staggering 1.2 million yuan. Adding insult to injury, there was a formal legal notice from the property management office regarding immediate eviction. The text abruptly informed her that the luxury penthouse she was currently living in had already been sold to a new owner, who demanded that she pack up all her scattered personal belongings within a strict 1-week deadline and vacate the premises immediately. The absolute final notification was an official HR email from Bai Ningbing's employer, stating that because she had completely ghosted her job for weeks, the company had fired her on the spot, and her remaining unpaid wages were being permanently withheld. In the span of a single night, Bai Ningbing had transformed into a completely homeless, debt-ridden outcast. As she mindlessly scrolled through her screen, her entire world shattered. In utter disbelief, l'incurie complètement oblivieux to the catastrophic reality of the situation, just sat by her side, trying to console her, no matter how insanely buried in work he claims to be. He shouldn't be acting like this. What kind of pathetic boyfriend is he anyway? If you ask me, you two should just break up already. But even if you do dump him, you absolutely must extort a massive settlement out of him first, not to mention my medical expenses. He's legally obligated to foot the bill for my luxury VIP suite as well. If he refuses, we will just march straight down to his company headquarters and make a massive public scene to completely ruin his reputation. Lin Chi Hui ran it on and on, entirely failing to notice that Bai Ningbing's expression had turned unimaginably dark. Inside her soul, a raging fire of pure desperation was burning. Shut up and get the hell out. This is all your fault. If you hadn't forced me to constantly stay by your side, how could Su Yan have ever run off into the arms of another woman? What on earth are you talking about? What do you mean Su Yan is with someone else? Don't tell me that worthless loser actually dumped you. Speak up. Tell me exactly what happened. Lin Chi Hui's probing questions felt like a barrage of poison needles, stabbing directly into Bai Ningbing's bleeding heart. 1383, the ultimate humiliation she desperately wanted to keep buried. The dark, buried secrets she desperately didn't want unearthed was just casually and brutally exposed by Lin Chi Hui's big mouth. Bai Ningbing completely lost her sanity and collapsed onto the hospital bed. Yes, Su Yan doesn't want me anymore. He has already tied the knot with another woman. Are you finally satisfied now? Hearing Bai Ningbing scream out the devastating truth about my sudden marriage, Lin Chi Hui stood entirely paralyzed in absolute shock. Then go track him down right now. Chase after him. He was completely obsessed with you, so if you just demand that he divorces that other woman, Getting him back by your side shouldn't be hard at all. He used to be willing to do absolutely anything for your sake. But hearing Lin Chi, Huey's delusional words only caused a massive mountain of repressed humiliation and grief inside her chest to completely erupt. She burst into a fit of violent, hysterical sobbing, screaming, "Get the hell out of my sight. Leave me the hell alone so I can finally calm down." After the Lin family, Hui slunk out of the ward. Bai Ningbing realized she was utterly drowned in her own tears. Yet, cold reality dictated that life must go on. Left with no other choice, Bai Ningbing desperately dialed her parents' number. Over the past 7 years, she had financially bankrolled her family immensely and had effortlessly exploited my extensive resources to secure a luxurious lifestyle for her spoiled younger brother. Bai Ningbing figured that asking her parents to lend her a quick cash injection to survive her current financial crisis would be an absolute breeze. However, the exact millisecond she finished explaining her current, pathetic situation over the phone, her parents on the other end of the line immediately erupted into a barrage of furious, high-pitched screams, tearing into her completely. "You absolute fool. You utterly reckless idiot. How many damn times did your father and I warn you? When you lock down a flawless, wealthy provider like Su Yin, you marry him immediately. But no, you just had to keep greedily keeping your options open, always chasing after something better. Look at you now. The ultimate golden goose has permanently flown the coop into another woman's arms. What do you mean, borrow money? We were literally counting on you to provide the massive down payment for your younger brother's brand new luxury apartment. And now you have the absolute audacity to crawl back and beg us for cash. This family doesn't have a single dime to waste on you. You better use whatever manipulation tactics you have left to drag Su Yin back. And if you fail to crawl back into his good graces, don't you dare ever show your pathetic face in this house again." Before she could utter a word, the line went completely dead. Bai Ningbing was completely blindsided by how unimaginably cutthroat and heartless her own flesh and blood could be toward her. Yet, to her absolute shock, a mere week later, the exact same ruthlessly pragmatic parents from that phone call actually track her down in person. They had even managed to arrange a cramped, sketchy rental apartment for her. That ungrateful bastard Su Yin is truly a piece of work. To completely leech off your youth for 7 whole years and then just casually throw you away like garbage. It's completely disgusting. But don't you worry, Ning Ning, it's not the end of the world. The sea is absolutely crawling with plenty of rich, successful men. While Bai Ningbing stood there in a completely dazed state, Lin Chi, Hui suddenly swaggered through the front door. Clutched tightly in his hand was a pathetic, wilted bouquet of cheap flowers. "Ningbing, marime. I promise I won't hold your ruined past against you." Staring at the horribly tacky bouquet, the zero effort setup, and the completely half-assed proposal, it didn't even amount to a tiny fraction of the flawless, grand romance I used to shower her with. Bai Ningbing let out a bitter, mocking laugh deep inside her soul. "No, I will absolutely never marry you. You've already been completely used up by another man for 7 long years. To have a decent guy who's actually willing to take you in is a miracle. So what the hell are you putting on airs for? Besides, Chi Hui has already promised to provide a massive dowry cash payment, which will perfectly cover the down payment for your little brother's house. What right do you have to be picky?" Hearing this, a horrific realization shattered her soul to her own biological parents. She was nothing more than a profitable transaction to cash in on for a hefty dowry. But no matter how aggressively her parents pressured and berated her, Bai Ningbing remained fiercely stubborn, completely refusing to yield. By the time Lin Yao Yao and I returned home, early spring had already blossomed. I was completely drowning in absolute marital bliss, and our relationship had rapidly blossomed into something infinitely deeper and more intimate than ever before. We were practically joined at the hip. Lin Yao Yao had now become so intensely attached that she couldn't bear to be apart from me for a single microsecond. Yet, out of nowhere, this flawlessly serene and blissful life we built was abruptly disrupted by a completely unexpected encounter. One afternoon, Lin Yao Yao and I had just finished grocery shopping, but the moment we stepped toward the checkout counter, a shadow suddenly blocked our path. Staring closely at the figure, It turned out to be none other than Bai Ningbing. She was now horrifyingly emaciated and completely hollowed out. Her cheekbones severely sunken, and her overall complexion painfully sallow. She had completely lost every single trace of the pampered, glowing beauty she used to flaunt. Instinctively, I immediately shielded Lin Yao. Yao, behind my back, deeply terrified that Bai Ningbing might violently snap. This sudden protective reflex deeply wounded what little was left of Bai Ningbing's pride. Looking into my eyes, she could clearly perceive that there wasn't a single shred of nostalgic warmth or lingering affection remaining. Bai Ningbing took a fragile step backward, 1474, letting out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. Relax. I didn't come here, Yao Yao confidently declared. Rest assured, I won't show up to start a pathetic screaming match with you. She slowly extended a flashy wedding invitation. I'm getting married next week. Consider this an invitation for old time's sake. Director Su, you absolutely must make an appearance with your new bride. I instinctively reached out to decline the card, but Lin Yao Yao swiftly snatched it right out her hand. Fabulous. My husband and I will absolutely be there. That supreme, unapologetic wifely authority oozing from Lin Yao Yao's voice dealt such a crushing blow that Bai Ningbing nearly collapsed on the spot. Bai Ningbing's 1485 face turned entirely ghostly pale as she spun around and frantically fled the scene. But the exact moment her back was turned, her face turned completely pale. Spinning around on her heels, she practically scrambled away in panic. The exact second her back was turned, I suddenly noticed something alarming. Not only was Bai Ningbing living a completely miserable life, but she also appeared to be heavily pregnant. Fast forward to the day of the scheduled wedding. The very first thing that struck me was how wildly out of place my luxury Maybach looked parked in front of such a sketchy, third-rate local diner. Bai Ningbing had indeed, 1493, officially sold herself off to Lin Qi. She had already married into the powerful Lin family. However, she was completely coerced into it. Her toxic parents and Lin Qi. We had forged a sickening financial transaction, a mere 200,000 yuan bribe to literally trap Bai Ningbing inside a room and keep her completely isolated until Lin Qi. We successfully forced her into pregnancy. Bai Ningbing had fiercely clawed, screamed, and fought back with everything she had. But as the fetus inside her grew larger by the day, she was ultimately crushed into a state of hollow acceptance to the horrifying reality. Clutching Lin Yao Yao's hand, the two of us confidently strolled right into the wedding reception hall. The venue was so incredibly bare and budget-looking that it could easily be described as a complete and utter joke. Bai Ningbing was trapped in a terribly ill-fitting, cheap wedding gown, and on her fingers sat a pathetic, fake plastic diamond ring that probably cost a few pocket change. Her oversized bridal heels made every single step she took forward painfully awkward and limping. Bai Ningbing had never felt so profoundly humiliated in her entire life. She was forced to desperately squeeze out a painful, artificial smile, whereas Lin Yao Yao and I were locked in our own private conversation, completely wrapped up in our own perfect little world. Anyone with eyes could instantly see just how madly in love the two of us were. Bai Ningbing naturally noticed it too, and she could only swallow the toxic envy burning deep within her chest, aggressively dragged forward. Bilin Kiwi, Bai Ningbing Zhu Den Chotet. Onto the rickety stage. The wedding ceremony finally reached the ring exchange. Ningbing, be my wife. From this moment on, your heart better belong solely to me. Bai Ningbing stared down at Lin Qi, Hui kneeling on one knee, but she visibly hesitated, completely refusing to extend her hand. What's the matter? Don't tell me you're still waiting for Su Yin to crash this stage and save you. Hearing the low, menacing threat in Lin Qi Hui's tone, a violent shiver ran down Bai Ningbing's spine. With trembling hands, she let the cheap diamond ring slide onto her finger, her tears flowing uncontrollably. If only it were possible, she desperately prayed that I would suddenly regret everything, storm the altar, and carry her away. But as she peeked into the crowd, she saw me, tenderly placing my hand over Lin Yao Yao's belly. My face was glowing with absolute ecstasy as I whispered, something sweet into her ear, completely ignoring the tragic circus happening on stage. In the end, I swiftly escorted Lin Yao Yao out of the venue, while Bai Ningbing's hollow gaze desperately followed my footsteps, until my silhouette completely vanished from her sight. Bai Ningbing felt her vision blur entirely as a fresh flood of tears welled up. The clueless guests all assumed she was overwhelmed with pure marital bliss, but only Bai Ningbing knew that the heavy tears pouring down her cheeks were the agonizing drops of absolute, irreversible regret. Not until Lin Yao Yao was on the verge of giving birth did I casually catch wind from an old college classmate that Bai Ningbing had already filed for a bitter divorce. Although I couldn't care less about her life anymore, considering their wedding happened just a short while ago, I was still a tiny bit taken aback. It turned out that right after the wedding, Bai Ningbing completely starved herself, refusing to touch a single crumb or drop of water until she withered away to practically skin and bones. This terrifying, suicidal behavior instantly threw the entire Lin household into absolute panic. They literally begged and pleaded on their knees for her to eat, and Lin Chi Hui even groveled hysterically before her feet just to coax her to swallow something. Yet Bai Ningbing remained entirely unyieldingly remorseless, sensing that the unborn child inside her was on the absolute brink of death. Bai Ningbing finally dropped her ultimate, cold ultimatum. She demanded an immediate divorce from Lin Chi Hui. On the sole condition of an official divorce, she would safely deliver the baby. Lin Chi Hui felt his manhood and dignity completely shattered, but watching Bai Ningbing's protruding belly swell larger by the very second, he was ultimately forced to sign the divorce papers. After all, to a backwards family like his, a bloodline heir was infinitely more valuable than a disposable wife. But who on earth could have anticipated that the exact day she secured her official divorce decree, Bai Ningbing ruthlessly popped 3 black market abortion pills, instantly triggering a massive, life-threatening hemorrhage. By the time she was rushed to the emergency room in a pool of blood, the child was already completely dead and impossible to save. Furthermore, Bai Ningbing herself barely survived, nearly losing her own feeble life on the operating table. Hearing this, I merely let out a casual, detached hum before spinning on my heel to focus solely on the delivery room door. The woman I once obsessed over to the point of throwing my own life away now couldn't even trigger a single microscopic ripple of emotion deep within my soul. The only things that existed in my universe right now were Lin Yao Yao and the precious, miracle child about to enter our world. Yet, I never expected that Bai Ningbing would actually track me down to this exact hospital. Dragging her heavily crippled body, she limped painfully through the corridors until she finally located 1584 me. I gasped as I looked at her, entirely lost. Finally, it was my turn. The very moment I parted my lips, I almost for words. But Bai Ningbing spoke up first, her voice raspy. Su Jian, 1587, I desperately need to have a private word with. I desperately need to speak privately with you. Absolutely nobody knew just how much excruciating agony and raw willpower Bai Ningbing had forced herself through, just to drag her broken body to this hospital ward. Her hospital gown was already thoroughly drenched. 1,592 inches cold sweat, and the sheer physical trauma racking her torso required her to brutally grit her teeth just to stand, covered in a cold sweat, while the excruciating agony racking my entire body forced me to grit my teeth tightly just to endure it. Yet the absolute millisecond her eyes locked onto me, she felt like every ounce of torture was completely worth it. In an instant, Bai Ningbing's hollow eyes welled up with a massive flood of pathetic, aggrieved tears, and she could no longer suppress her hysterical emotions. Su Jian, look at me. I utterly destroyed Lin Chi Hui's child for you. Can we just wipe the slate clean and go back to exactly how he used to be? The second those delusional words left her mouth, I stared at her as if looking at a completely deranged alien specimen. Miss Bai, My actual wife is literally inside that delivery room, giving birth to my child right now. Are you seriously going to lurk right outside the maternity ward, spewing this toxic nonsense? Trying to home wreck and tear apart someone else's sacred marriage. Aren't you utterly terrified of divine retribution and karma hitting you like a freight train? Bai Ningbing's face turned completely translucent. What did you just call me? How can you brutally humiliate me like this just for the sake of another woman? Miss Bai, who the hell do you think you are to me? I highly suggest you check your actual status before speaking. 1608, if you ever dare to harass or sabotage my family again, trust me, I will absolutely destroy. If you ever dare to sabotage my life again, you better watch your back because I will. I dropped my voice to a low, menacing whisper, making it perfectly clear I wasn't bluffing. The bitter tears streamed down Bai Ningbing's face as she froze in absolute, paralyzing shock. Never in her wildest dreams had she seen me act so viciously cold, ruthless, and unforgiving. I don't have a single second to waste on your pathetic delusions. If you don't get out of my sight this instant, I am calling security. Suddenly, the delivery room erupted with the chaotic, ecstatic shouts of the medical staff. The second I heard the commotion, I bolted toward the doors, leaving Bai Ningbing staring helplessly at my frantic, retreating back. At that exact microsecond, Bai Ningbing finally realized that she had utterly and completely lost. She stood there paralyzed like a statue for an eternity, until the piercing, beautiful cry of a newborn infant echoed brilliantly from the delivery room. Shortly after, I was completely doting over Lin Yao. Yao as she was wheeled out, showering her with a massive, breathtaking bouquet of flowers. I gently pressed my lips against Lin Yao's cheek, the pure, unadulterated adoration in my eyes completely overflowing. (1627) Seemingly burst and overflow. Wifey, thank you for fighting so hard for us. Yao, I love you more than life itself. Our radiating, absolute marital bliss pierced through Bai Ningbing's heart like a million poisoned daggers. 1631, she could do nothing but retreat helplessly into the dark shadows. I could only cower and hide away in the shadows. She felt exactly like a wretched sewer rat, lurking in the filth, forced to miserably peek at someone else's radiant happiness. As she stumbled blindly out onto the crowded streets, a sudden wave of intense déjà vu completely overwhelmed her soul. Once upon a time, back when I had first courted her, we used to constantly stroll along these exact same sidewalks. Back then, I would eagerly carry every single heavy bag. 1639 clutched at her hands, holding my head in my hands, while dotingly asking her if she was hungry or wrapping my coat around her to see if she was cold. Back then, she was genuinely, blissfully happy too, wasn't she? So why on earth did she never know how to cherish it? Why? 1644, did her toxic, arrogant ego delude her into believing that I would blindly stay by her side forever, no matter how much she trampled my soul? She arrogantly and blindly assumed that I would absolutely never leave her side.